Okay, so here we are, have Unity 3D open. We're going to be talking about this guy right here, the project window. Remember, when we created this project, we actually installed Unity VS. So if you're on a Mac or you didn't go through the steps of actually installing Visual Studio and the Visual Studio 2013 tools for Unity, then you won't necessarily have this folder or this plugin. If you created a brand new project and you did want this, again, you can come up here to Assets, go down to Import Package, and select Visual Studio 2013 Tools. And again, you will have that if you installed the Unity VS tools. So if you go to unityvs.com, you can do that. And a previous lesson showed how to do that. Okay. But what I want to show here is I can right-click on this Assets and say Show and Explore. And the same things for Mac. And what this allows me to do is see my actual assets folder here. And we see that temp script file that I made, in the previous episode to show how Unity and Visual Studio can work together. And I can double click on that temp script and open up Visual Studio. But you'll notice inside of my assets folder, I have that CS file and I have this Unity VS folder, the editor, right? So this is, I'm going to close this out, and this is a direct match with what's inside of my assets folder here. Okay. So this matches the file system one-to-one. This is just representing the file system. Now, what you don't want to do though is you don't want to go into the file system directly and start renaming things and moving things around, because sometimes the Unity editor can get confused, and if it gets confused, it can kind of mess up your project. So if you want to modify something, so let's say I want to come in here and right click and say I want to create a new folder, and I want to create a scripts folder, and then I want to drag my temp script into my scripts folder. I would want to do that just like I did just now through Unity. I would not want to come in here and in the actual Explorer come in here and start making another folder and start moving things around here. If I move it here inside the operating system, then Unity can get confused. It doesn't get confused all the time, but it only takes one time for you to get a bit to realize that that's not a good idea. Okay? So a project folder is a one-to-one match for what's on the file system. So in our assets, we would have things like, we could have like a textures folder, right? Or maybe we would have a models folder or a prefab folder. And we'll talk about all these different things in different courses. But the main thing is, this is our actual disk, what it looks like on this. When I right click on this and say Show and Explore, we'll see all these assets were now made. So I now have a models folder, and I have a prefabs folder, and of course my scripts folder was there, my textures folder, right? If I go and let's say make a scenes folder, and say create new folder, and I'll call this my scenes. I can come up here to my file and say save scene as, go to my scenes folder and type in like main. Now I have a main scene inside of my project under this scenes folder. Maybe I'd make another scene. So maybe I come in here and say new scene, and this new scene, I'm going to save this scene as menu. Okay, so now I have a main scene and a menu scene. Again, I can go take a look here inside Windows Explorer on the Windows, and I can see in my scenes folder now I have a main.unity and a menu.unity. I also have some unity.meta files, and these meta files help Unity know what to do and how to work with particular files. Okay, but that is the project window. It's simply a one-to-one match. So if I have an actual, let's say, bitmap or a JPEG or whatever, I can drag it into my textures folder. Okay? If I had a model, like an FBX file, I could drag that into my models folder. If I had, different scripts, I could actually drag them into my scripts folder. Of course, I can create new things here. So the great thing about this is it shows us how our file structures are stored on disk. We can modify it, we can change things around, and this is a one-to-one match. Our project folder is a one-to-one match to our actual assets folder inside of our file system.